racial. You breaking the rules, and you're trying to hide behind race to break the rules.
Yeah, so keep on kicking butt.
Yeah.
Make sure your hair's good. Get that creamy crack.
That said that if that Hunter Biden laptop story
Have any arguments against that right now? And I want to see how it goes.
A school in Texas is defending its decision to suspend a black student for more than 2 weeks over his hair.
That student's name is Daryl George. He's just 17 years old, and as you can see, he has his hair in twisted dreadlocks. The school first suspended Daryl at the end of August and then just suspended him again yesterday.
All of this is despite a new law in Texas that just took effect. It's called the Crown Act. The acronym stands for, quote, create a respectful and open world for natural hair. And the law prohibits racial discrimination based on hairstyles.
NBC News correspondent Rahima Ellis covers education for us and joins us now in studio. So, Rahima, first off, how is the school explaining their decision right now?
The school says that they are following the student handbook, and the handbook says that students are not allowed to have hair extending below their eyebrows, their earlobes, or the top of their T-shirt. And it's important to take a look at the picture here. This young man's hair is up. His mother said he has not worn his hair long since he started in school, and therefore they're wondering what the school is doing. We have a statement from the school that says the Barbers Hill ISD, which stands for Independent School District, dress code is not in conflict with the Crown Act, and that's from the Communications Department. The Crown Act, as you were saying, Kate, it says that no one is allowed to discriminate against someone, whether in the workplace or in the school place, based on their hairstyle or the texture of their hair. And that includes, and they specifically say, that includes afros, that includes dreadlocks, and that includes twists. So school is saying one thing, and the law seems to say something else.
Okay, that's different from what I was
wrong.
Huh?
The kid is in the wrong. It said it from the jump. Your hair can't come past your eyebrows. It can come down, but you can tie it up. Wrong. Break the rules.
But are they violating the Crown Act at the school?
The Crown Act. What is the Crown Act? It's not racial discrimination because anybody's hair can grow into dreadlocks. Everybody can do it. It's not racial. You breaking the rules, and you're trying to hide behind race to break the rules and get special treatment and hide behind they're not discriminating against you.
He can have short locks, starter locks, right?
Yeah,
I'm thinking
if that follows in the rules, if they said it can't come past your eyebrows, it can't hang down, it can be as long as you want, and you tie it up and make it neat and do it into a nice style. Breaking the rules, bending the rules.
I would say you bending. I wouldn't say you breaking, because that's a hairstyle just like everybody else got a hairstyle. Like and if it's kept neat and it's not a private school or anything like that, I don't see him getting suspended.
It's not about the locks.
But if it's the school rules, like if the school said you can't wear flip-flops.
If the schools say that you can't wear flip-flops, there's no way to fake not wearing flip-flops.
Show up and be like, yo, but I got socks on. It's not, my toes aren't out. I got socks on. No, you can't wear flip-flops. That's against the school rules.
But does it go for girls too? Because their hair is long. Or is it something for boys? It said students in the handbook.
So it might have been an all-boys school. I don't know if it was a boys and girls school.
But the rules wouldn't be the same for boys and girls, because boys would have typically, I don't know.
Yeah.
It makes sense
Just
to
like
me.
they might be like, boys have to come in with a button-up shirt. Girls have to wear a skirt.
I mean, I know my daughter went to a private school and my son went to public school, so I get that. But I'm like, this whole story, it seems like there's some holes in there, because they're saying that, and the Crown Act is something that was passed because, again, in the workplace, people with hair like mine, and it might not be a racial thing, it could be white people with locks, black people with locks. But typically when we would wear our hair in its natural state, meaning kinky, coily hair, if I wear it out in an afro, it was an issue to people. And it's looked at as unprofessional. So there were always rules against that type of hair. You had to have it pressed out, permed, flat. But why? That's a European standard. Why would my hair have to be flattened in order to be professional? So the Crown Act came because of all those things that have been happening for a long time. If I wear braids or I wear locks, I get treated differently from other people that don't look like me. And the rules don't apply to them. So that's how that came about.
You sure? I was a dread for 20 years.
I'm a nurse, so I've had locks since 2004.
I was a dread when it was unpopular to be a dread. I was a dread since the 90s.
Yeah, and I started mine in 2004 when it wasn't very popular. I was one of the only women with locks in my hospital that I worked at the nursing homes I worked at. So I get it. But the Crown Act, it's something that's needed because we were always bothered for our hair. You're not a woman. I'm telling you, it's
I
a
have
thing.
a question though, as a woman. I've always been in the military most of my life. Then I separated and I became a contractor, and then now I work for the
Thank you for your
government.
service.
Thank you. But I want to know, like, I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I just want to know because I've never experienced. Is it policies as far as the workplace? There have been policies where it says you can't have your hair curly or you can't have your hair in a certain, or is it how we internalize it and we think, well, it doesn't look professional, so we shouldn't have our hair this way? Is it that, or have there been actual policies where they're like, you can't have your hair in its natural state because it's unprofessional?
That's a hard question to answer because I think there's been isolated incidents that have happened where, a coworker or something goes to work and she has her hair out in a natural state, sent home, or some policy was recited in the policy. Your hair in its natural state can't look like what they're saying in the policy. So then it does feel like discrimination because if I have poofy curly hair, my hair can't lie down and do all this stuff unless I go do stuff to it. And if I'm a person who's against either putting heat in my hair or putting chemicals to straighten it, then I'm being violated. My rights are being violated to wear my hair in its natural state. So the Crown Act came about for not to go color your hair and wear all these crazy Detroit runway styles. I'm just
What are we
saying
talking about when we say natural state? Like, because
a kinky, coily state. I said that earlier, not
if anybody
coily
else
hair.
were to come in and say, look, I just got up and this is my natural state and came to work, they would be sent home too.
I'm talking
Because
about
they
texture.
came in and it looks like, even though their hair is straight and it lays flat, it's messy. It
They
looks
just look like they woke up out of bed. No, I mean like a
so
natural
it's the
curly state.
same, and they could say this is my natural state. This is how I rock. This is natural. This is word semantics that we playing, and a lot of it is hiding behind feelings and using these words. This is how we feel, and this is how we interpret it. And taking isolated incidences and making them just broad and saying this is the way it goes down. And me personally, I just watch black people do it all day long. Oh, the way the cops treat it, they do it with anything that is popular, becomes popular. It's just a knee-jerk reaction. Sometimes when you take a look and you go through your day, you're like, it didn't happen to him, didn't happen to her, she didn't hit. But when you turn on the internet, you turn on the camera,
The freaks come out at night.
it's the easiest thing to say. And everybody's just like, yeah, it's cool, yeah, because it just rolls off the tongue.
So in the military, for instance, if you wanted to wear your hair in an afro, for instance, there are rules for bulk, like how much bulk you can have. So if you have an afro, that exceeds that bulk, then you would just slick your hair down because you're breaking the rules, right? So I think that I understand the whole having your hair in a natural state, but if you're not meeting the standard, whatever that standard is, then you have to adjust, adapt, and overcome, or adapt. Like, again, I was natural for a while, or I'm still natural, and I had to, you have to put your hair in a ponytail because if you keep it out, then it's going to exceed that bulk. And like length requirements too. If your hair, back then, if you have your hair in a bob, and I think that still applies now, if you have your hair in a bob, it can't exceed past the collar. So I think if we're talking about rules and its standard, I don't see an issue with it, in my opinion. But if this, we know the difference between discrimination. Like if people are being targeted, Black people are being targeted, then yeah, that's wrong. But if it's just rules across the board and you have to meet it, and unfortunately our hair grows out, right?
That's true.
But anybody can have an unkempt hairstyle. Anybody can look unkempt.
I don't think it's unkempt.
You're missing the point. It's not about being unkempt. It's about the bulk issue. Because for instance, when I was in basic training, I had a perm, right? Because I was, creamy crack back then.
Creamy crack.
And my hair was cut in a bob because I thought that would be the best way to manage my hair when I went to basic training. So I cut my hair. I joined in 1991. I had them trim the back, so I had that little asymmetric bob, but it came up high enough to where it wasn't on my collar. The issue with that is I went to basic training in Fort Jackson, South Carolina in the middle of June. It's hot. It's humid. And guess what we didn't have access to? Our flat iron, a pressing comb, the blow dryer, because we had to put all those things up when we got down to Fort Jackson. So after one shampoo, guess what my hair did?
Where the picture's at? I need to see that picture.
You will never see that picture. And I tried my best
I need to
to
see it.
cornrow my hair. But again, when your hair is cut blunt, it's hard to keep that cornrow. So everything kept unraveling. And I remember my drill sergeant looked at me and she called me Raggedy Ann one time. Because there's no product. So that's what I'm talking about. Yes, there's a standard, but you have to think, who was the standard geared towards originally? Not playing victim.
The white
All right,
man.
No,
this
let
is
me
what
just
I'm gonna
finish.
say.
Let me
This is what
finish.
I'm
I'm
gonna
not
say.
saying, not playing victim and not saying it's, racist, but
But
who was the standard geared
for
towards originally? Because most of the people that joined didn't look like me at one point. And I'm just saying that
all
those
right.
are facts.
You might
So
not
things
like
had to
this,
change to accommodate new amounts of people that look like myself and Jennifer to allow us to be able to wear our hair in its natural state, meaning the curly, kinky state that poofs out, that can't always get slicked down with gel because it just doesn't hold.
I'm
That's
gonna
just
say this. This is my answer to this. You're in the army now, soldier.
mm-hmm.
All of the pretty stuff and this and that. You join the army. Like, I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. I hear it different. I'm like, yo, you came here to get pretty and worry about your head. Yo, this is the army. Them dudes over there, your counterparts, or what do they call the
We
other
were
soldiers
separated
that
from
you
the
go
men
inside
anyway, so
and everything? They got buzz cuts. Not even thinking about these things.
But men and women are not the same, and
Exactly,
not the same.
exactly. But you join the military.
But there's
It's
standards
not.
for men and women.
Listen.
There's
You
different
just join something that's This is not. There's not no play. This is real bullets. We not. This is not skirmish. We're not
I
shooting
know.
I've
paintballs.
been to a combat zone, so I'm just saying.
Same
This
here.
is a real
I was
thing.
in for
Like this
14
is
years.
what
I'm
I'm
not.
hearing. I'm just hearing like, yo, a women. Why you worry about getting pretty? Yo, this is the army. We defending the
I think you're
country. We
missing the
defending the
point I
border.
was
Yo,
making.
she's worried about her hair.
No, the point I was making was we were talking about army regulations and about wearing hair and whatever regulations they put out for how your hair should be. I was saying to you that when I went there, I couldn't keep my hair in this nice, neat state because I didn't have those products. It's not about me trying to look cute. I was too busy trying to not get ticks on my body and low crawling in the mud and shooting my M16 and all that
Just
stuff.
cut it.
I did cut it before I went. That was my point. I
Cut it.
tried.
That's what I'm saying. Cut it while you were there. Look, it's getting in the way that I don't have the
Big
time to
chop.
do this. Yo, cut it.
That
G.I.
in
Jane.
itself
I'm a
was
soldier. I'm a soldier. We doing it's soldier
okay.
time right now.
You
We
got
lacing our
you
boots
got
up. I cut my
So
hair off. Ring.
I have a comment. So
Hmm?
this is the thing: when we're out in a combat zone, or even if we're training, yes, we're gonna look ugly. But there are standards. Like if when we're in our dress uniform, we have to look put together. We're gonna wear makeup. Like we're women, and this is the stand. We have to look good in our dress uniform. Period. So I don't know if you have military experience or you've been in it, but it's not just one perception or one scenario where we have. It doesn't matter. Yeah, we have to look good in our uniform. That includes everything, hair, all of that.
Yep.
And there are
Field is
different
one
standards
thing.
between men and women for that reason.
When you're in the field, it's a different story. When you're back in garrison, it's a whole different story. But I still had to try to keep my hair neat in my hat so my headgear could fit properly, so I would be in uniform. And I couldn't do that because of the humidity and my hair was poofing out. So I wasn't trying to say I was trying to look pretty. I was still trying to be within the regulations.
So how would the military work that out? Would they get you a special hat?
No, I had to make my hat fit. I had to try to slick my hair down as much
No,
as
I'm saying if you was allowed to be like you could have your hair the way you wanted it, they would get you a special hat that could fit, or how does that work?
I would have to try to cornrow my hair down or just get a bigger hat size, but I don't think it's about the way I want to wear my hair. It's to look neat and presentable so my headgear will fit properly, my helmet would fit properly. But you can't always do that if your hair is 4C, 4B hair. It's going to grow out. It's not going to grow down and nice and slick unless you do something to it, i.e. chemical or heat or gel. Well, they didn't allow women to cut their hair bald either.
Yeah, that's another thing too.
That's a G.I. Jane thing, and that's a movie. That's not real life. You did not allow women to buzz cut their hair in the military either. So I could not cut it. I couldn't just go and say, hey, drill sergeant, I'm going to go shave my head tomorrow.
And why is that?
Army regulations. There's women's regulations and there's men's regulations for a
No,
reason.
I'm just asking. I'm just wondering if there might be a logic behind it, or
I don't know. I didn't write the
They
AR.
still want us to look like women.
Yeah, we weren't trying to blur the lines back then when they first.
So women couldn't join if they were bald headed.
I mean, if
I don't know about the army, but I have to go back because I've never had my hair that short. But there is a just like there is a bulk standard. You can't have your hair shorter than a certain length either. Is that something the army?
yes, that's why I said I couldn't shave my head and like cut it down to an inch. Yeah, I don't know why that is.
You ex-military 2C1?
No.
Okay.
I mean,
I respect the military because you guys are the people that are the military, police, firemen, guys like you are willing to do the things that the rest of us won't do. Like, you know, like if somebody's on the ground bleeding and their bones are popping out and I don't know them, to go and scoop them up off the ground, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I would have to, but for people like you to just come in and you don't know the person at all and scoop them up and go do what you do, hats off to you guys. You know, protect the border so that we can, it's like, especially the military, because we need y'all while we sit here and party and do what we do. This is how it all is all possible.
Yeah, so keep on kicking butt.
Yeah.
Make sure your hair's
Like,
good. Make sure your hair's is supposed to be.
you know,
Not me anymore.
Get that creamy
Jennifer's.
crack.
I'm out now.
it got to get ugly sometimes so that we can have good times. It just is what it is.